Put your position in the comments.
The only reason you'd want to register the guns is if you want to confiscate them.
So I just had a question on your thoughts on if we need more gun control in the country or not. I'm very pro protecting America and the citizens that live in it. And so I think that we should have more gun control because there's a lot of school shootings that happen, as we mentioned. And, I just think it would do a lot to protect the people. And I think the Second Amendment also qualifies that we should have regulations for guns. I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Do you think gun ownership is a right or a privilege?
I think it's a right, but it comes with responsibilities. Well, I think that there should be things in place, things like red flag laws and things like that. I'm not necessarily saying it's mainly to prevent, future shootings and things like that, and also, putting in place things like a federal registry so that we know, the types of guns that people have, and it would just essentially be a federal registry that shows these are the guns that this person has, in case a cop has to go on something like a domestic call.
What would you say is the ultimate and final purpose of the Second Amendment?
I think it's self-defense against a tyrannical government, which
we agree.
Well, but I think within the Second Amendment, it also implies that we have high regulations in the first four words.
Sort of.
Of it.
Well-regulated militia
Right.
actually meant well-armed, but that's a separate issue.
Do you disagree with the idea of a federal registry like
Oh,
that?
without a doubt. The
You
only
do?
reason you'd want to register the guns is if you want to confiscate them.
Well, or to make sure that people like officers of the law are protected and know what they're going into.
I will try to make a better argument where the problem of the government knowing where every gun is would then lead itself towards mass confiscation. And I would agree with you, a well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
So you think a federal registry would infringe on the right?
I mean, I think that there's no good argument, other than potential. I ascribe to the government bad motives and bad intentions when it wants to infringe more on these types of freedoms and liberties.
I just personally don't see it as an infringement because, like we just said, and I think we agreed that owning a gun is a right. However,
Yes.
I think it was responsibilities. But also I wanted to ask, is voting a right or is that a privilege?
Well, it is a right, and so felons can get their rights back, right? And
Right.
But rights can be suspended or delayed. So,
Right,
for
but-
example, like somebody in prison doesn't get guns. Somebody in prison doesn't have the same free speech rights that you might have.
But what's the first thing that you have to do if you want to vote in this country? You have to register, right? So it's a federal registration to be able to vote in this country. So why not, and we can agree that, keeping safe and, keeping our elections to where people who shouldn't vote aren't voting is, that's keeping America safe.
I would say there's a technical difference between a voter registration roll and a gun registration
Right, guns
roll.
are much more dangerous.
My worldview comes out of one in the 20th century, where almost every totalitarian government went after the guns first. And the confiscation of guns then leads into the erosion of freedom and liberty.